The recording will be uploaded onto the ITS Canada YouTube channel, and I will share with everybody the link probably tomorrow. So welcome everybody. Welcome to a Spanish ITS market information session and business development program presentation. I probably should put it in presentation mode, shouldn't I? My name is Janneke, and I am the Managing Director of ITS Canada. ITS Canada, we are the hub for mobility technologies. Mobility technologies enable the safe, efficient, and reliable movement of goods and people. The hub is the place where the needs of the Canadian transportation system connect with ideas, technologies, and capabilities of our members. ITS Canada is the hub where challenges meet solutions. We support mobility technologies through championing the benefits, fostering and promoting innovation, integrating the expertise, products, and services of our members, enabling communication for learning and collaboration. Contact details are here, as you can see, and I can share the slide deck with everybody. Ian Steele is the chairman and CEO of ITS Canada, and his details are there as well. Yeah. And it is now.
Can you change the slides, Janneke?
You're not sharing the screen, just the.
Oh, can you see it?
We see the second one right now.
Okay. Can you see this one, which is I just spoke to?
Yes.
Okay. I'll stop sharing. I'll share the presentation with everybody. So it is my honor now to introduce Yves Belliveau. Yves Belliveau is the Trade Commissioner and First Secretary at the Embassy of Canada to Spain. Yves' role is to promote Canadian business and economic interest in the Spanish market and to support the Trade Commissioner Service clients in identifying and pursuing export opportunities and science and innovation partnership. And Yves, I am going.
Actually, don't make me the share right now because I'll present at the end. But if you don't mind, I'll just say a few words before passing it on to Alfonso and to Jesus. Yes. Thank you very much, Janneke. It is a real pleasure to be here with you, with my colleague Antoine Clément from the Embassy. And the Trade Commissioner Service indeed is very keen in supporting Canadian companies like yourselves in the local market. And one sector that we would like to help out this year specifically is the ITS sector. It is an area that we see lots of potential in the Spanish market, and you'll hear a little bit more about that from local experts. I'm going to pass it on to two local experts that will talk about the ITS market in Spain, and then I'll actually take over at the end of this session today to present an initiative that we're planning, me and Antoine, here in March of 2023 to support a small group of Canadian companies in the ITS sector. So I'll pass it over to Alfonso Tapia, who is CEO of OMNICREA, who is our partner for the initiative that we will be delivering, the initiative that we'll be delivering here in March in Spain, in Madrid, in the capital of the country. And also Jesus Serra is an expert as well. He is from CPS, is an engineering firm here in the Spanish market that focuses on ITS. So over to you, Alfonso, for your brief remarks.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm Alfonso Tapia, OMNICREA manager. OMNICREA is a company expert in international trade, B2B events, and B2G events and international affairs. We have 9 years of experience in this kind of congress around the world, and we will prepare all the meetings. We will keep those Spanish and Canadian companies. Everything that is needed in March 2023 Congress, our team will be there to help you. Thank you very much to the Embassy for inviting us to participate in this important ITS event. And I'm sure everything will be perfect, everything will go very well. Next, Jesus Serra from PPS will talk about the ITS Spanish market. It's a very interesting presentation, you will see. And Jesus, wherever you want, you can start the presentation. Goodbye, and thank you very much.
Thank Yves and Alfonso. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
So my name is Jesus Serra, and I'm the head of the ITS department on CPS. CPS is a Spanish company with more than 30 years of experience in transport engineering, civil engineering, and architecture. In all these years, we are very proud to offer our customers high value added solutions. We work in more than 15 countries, have about 150 employees in Spain and in several offices all around the world. You can find more information on our website. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service and the ITS Canada for this initiative because we think it's a great opportunity for both countries. Our objective with today's presentation is to provide you a global overview of the Spanish ITS market, trying to give you a vision of who the main stakeholders are, which ITS will be trending over the next years, and how much investment is expected. Please note that this is a small preview of all the information that you will be able to obtain at next year's meeting. So let's start with a little history of the deployment of ITS in Spain. It's similar to other countries and, as expected, has been conditioned by the global economic situation. In the decades of the 80s and the 90s were the first important deployments of classic ITS like cameras, traffic lights, vehicle counters on roads and cities. On the next decade, there was a mass deployment of equipment and fiber communication networks, mainly on the high capacity roads. From 2010 to 2020, there was a big crisis period where the focus was on maintenance with low investment. Finally, in spite of the complex world situation we're entering in a phase of renewal of all this equipment and deployment of what we could call new generation ITAs. So we believe it's the right time to enter this market. In order to explain our ITS market, we have divided into three categories, considering the areas, roles, and responsibilities. So we have interurban traffic management, urban traffic management, and public transportation management. First, we're going to talk about the interurban traffic management. We have to differentiate between the state-managed roads and regional managed roads. The state-managed road network has more than 26,000 kilometers, and its management is divided into two administrations. First, the Ministry of Transportation and Public Works, MITMA, and this ministry is responsible for the management and maintenance of the national roads. And that includes the traffic management inside of tunnels and its equipment. The main department is the General Directorate of Roads, DGC. But on the other side, we have the General Directorate of Traffic, DGT, who is responsible for the traffic management of all the interurban national roads. So please note the DGT belongs to the Ministry of Interior. So we have two ministries with different roles over the same roads. Then if we look at the regional managed roads with more than 135,000 kilometers, we will find the different regional administration where we can highlight the case of the Basque Country and Navarra with full competencies on all of its roads, and Catalonia and Andalusia with an important regional network. On the map, we have represented only the high-capacity road network with a length of around 17,000 kilometers, where you can observe the different managers of every road. So next, on the next slides, we want to show you which ITS are currently installed or are going to be deployed over the next years. First, we have the traffic management systems like variable message signs, cameras, license plate recognition, vehicle classification, and so on. We expect here a renewal of the existing equipment and deployment of this type of ITS on secondary roads. Also, is going to continue the adaptation of current tunnels to the European security legislation, including new barriers, automatic incident detection, fire detection, PA systems, ventilation, lighting, etc. Of course, it's going to continue the deployment of enforcement equipment, mainly controlling the speed, but it will be extended to other applications such as seatbelt use, active insurance, and a lot of more examples. The deployment of wave motion systems in Spain is not very common, but could be expanded in the future. Also, there are several projects of bus and high occupancy vehicle lanes in the entrance of the main cities like Madrid, Valencia, or Malaga. It's also important to control the mobility of the hazardous materials around the road network. We all know the fundamental aspect in the next years will be all the data analytics systems, including big data, business intelligence, digital twins, and the mobility data hubs. In Spain, for example, there is the National Access Point, which is a space of interchange of multimodal transport information that will be expanding in the next years with more data. Also, the deployment of new advanced video analytics systems based on artificial intelligence. And about connected and autonomous vehicles, have been several pilot projects that will, of course, will increase in the future. But we would like to highlight the future of the road pricing in Spain. The main toll concessions in Spain are coming to an end, but road user charging or pay-per-use systems are expected to be implemented nationwide and in regions like in Navarra. And finally, although it's not an ITS per se, it's going to be an increased use of the BIM methodologies in all road projects. So, taking into account all these systems, we estimate a public investment between all the administration of at least 400 million euros in the coming years. The next category is the urban traffic management. In Spain, we have more than 150 cities with more than 50,000 inhabitants, and among these cities, there are 63 cities with a population of more than 100,000. All these cities have full competencies on traffic management and enforcement on their streets and on its roads. This figure illustrates some of the main cities in Spain. You will know most of them. If we look to the main ITS to be deployed, we have traffic management systems like traffic lights, cameras, vehicle counters, with special attention to the extension of current functionalities like adaptive systems and public vehicles priority systems. Also, new information systems controlling speed, red light, vehicle emission, reserved parking areas, or reserved lanes. The systems which are going to have more deployment in the next years are the ones related to access control, in special the access control to low emission zones. According to the European regulations, all the cities with more than 50,000 inhabitants have to implement a low emission zone in the next years. So as we talked before, there are more than 150 cities on this category. So it's going to be a big investment in this area. Of course, we also have parking management, both on street and off street. Also, we all know the importance of control of the use of loading and unloading areas and its effect on the city's mobility. We have data analytics, like in the case of interurban roads. Also, all the advanced video analysis can be used to get data collection of vehicles, but also pedestrians and all kinds of personal mobility devices, considering the large increase in the use of electric scooters in Spain. The video analysis systems also will have its use as a tool for city police, with great opportunities to accelerate their crime research. And finally, we have all technologies related with smart cities like sensor integrated platforms and wireless networks. Considering all these systems, we expect more than 200 million euros of investment. And additionally, there are the European Next Generation funds with up to 1.5 billion euros. Please note that these funds include more than technology projects, but lots of ITS projects could be potentially funded. On the next category, we have the public transportation management. The main stakeholders will be the metropolitan transportation authorities, who are responsible for coordinating and planning public transportation on the metropolitan regions. There are more than 150 cities with public transportation system, and it's provided by public or mixed societies and private companies in concession contracts. The estimated public fleet is around 5,000 vehicles, and if we include the private sector, we have a fleet of more than 40,000 vehicles. The main ITs will be fleet management and travel information systems. These systems are already deployed on main systems, but the fleet on small cities has little or no equipment. And also will be a renewal in many of the main cities over the next years. Also, we highlight the ticketing systems with the evolution of all current systems towards contactless and account-based systems with a clearinghouse between the different operators. And finally, of course, all technologies and systems related to the concept of mobility as a service, intermodality, planners, service on demand, and so on. Here we can expect an investment of at least 100 million. And lastly, to understand the ITS market in Spain, you need to have a global vision of the rest of the stakeholders that are not public administrations. Here you have the different of the main companies of this sector. The majority of these companies are Spanish companies or international companies that have incorporated former Spanish companies. At next year's event, you will be able to meet many more of them. And we have divided them into the following categories, where we have the public administration, what we have talked before. Next, we have the consultants, our companies, CPS, which are specialized companies on the ITS sector that work at the national and international level. In the category of manufacturers and developers, in addition to 40 companies that supply typical ITS products, there is a group of companies specialized in homologated equipment in Spain. Also, we have the Spanish integrators, which are big companies that deploy ITS and other technologies all around the world. Many of you already will know many of them. And then we have ITS Spain, similar to ITS Canada, which is an association that includes all the many stakeholders in order to promote the sector. And finally, we include a category of standardization to highlight the fact that there have been developed a group of ITS standards, both European and national, mainly in the interurban equipment. And with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope it has been of your interest, and we look forward to seeing you at next year's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesus. I have a question for you. What about a market analysis or overview of goods movement or freight?
Can you repeat? I couldn't hear you.
Okay. What about freight or goods movement? Do you have like numbers on that in Spain, or the importance as it relates to ITS?
We could give you, if you want, and we can send you this information after the meeting.
Okay. Is that not a focus of the Spanish ITS market?
We have shown you today what are the main ITS systems or trends to be deployed mainly on roads. But also there are a lot more of ITS systems, and we can, in another meeting, we can discuss about them, of course.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's being done with respect to automated freight, for example. And also in North America, we experience major supply chain issues. And I was just wondering if Spain is experiencing supply chain issues as well, and how, I guess, research or ITS solutions are used or will be used to address the challenges with respect to supply chain.
This kind of equipment is it's mainly on the side of the private sector. So we have shown you today more. The presentation is being oriented more on the public administration and future investments. This kind of solution, of course, is being used by all the private sector, by all of these transportation companies, private companies, are using this kind of technology, the fleet management and freight solution, including the interchange with the port authorities, the freights. So if you wish, as I told you, we can make a future presentation about this kind of solutions.
Perfect. Thank you. I guess I'm going back to Yves. Yves, is that what the intention is? To go back to you now
exactly.
for your presentation?
If I could just do a short presentation as well.
Yep.
Thank you.
Voila.
Before we move on to Yves, could I have the opportunity just to ask Jesus a quick question?
Of course.
Jesus, I'm curious, super interested in some of the movement in the European Union and Spain you referred to specifically on pollution and low emission zones within the cities. We're obviously in the sound business. We consider sound pollution as well. Is there any initiatives to look at sound within these low emission zones?
Yeah.
My other question is, when entering the Spanish market, you talked about the independence of individual jurisdictions. I'm just curious if there is a single governing body, like a company like ours could go to and get better penetration throughout all these individual jurisdictions more efficiently.
So about the first question, yes, it's mandatory that all cities include sensors that could get sound emissions. So there's maximum levels, and there's a deployment of this kind of sensor in all cities. It's mandatory for all cities. And about the second question, I believe that it's a difficult question because, as you can see in Spain, there's a lot of different stakeholders. I'm not sure if I could give you the best option, sincerely, because I believe the best way to get introduced in this market is by the hand of a Spanish company that you can share the same interests, or you could complement each other.
Nope, that makes sense. Makes sense. Would it be possible to talk offline at a later date about the sound sensor technology and the infrastructure
Of
behind
course.
that at the moment?
Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
For example, we usually we draft tender projects for the main cities. regarding these low emission cities. So we describe the main requirements of this equipment. So I would be very pleased to talk to you another day about your solution. Thank you.
Okay.
Great questions, and well, I'm glad to hear that you're quite interested as well in the Spanish market, and hopefully what I will address will be of interest to you. So thank you very much, Yannicka, and also to Jesus and Alfonso for your interventions as well. As you can see, we're working with some very niche partners in this initiative, but so let's move on to the 48-hour deep dive in Spain's ITS sector that we are preparing here for the Spanish market in March of next year. I'm just going to be talking a little bit about the Trade Commissioner Service for those who don't know us, and then I'll take a stab at the program that we have planned for March 2023, and then continue on with the questions and answers as well. If you have questions for both Alfonso and for Jesus afterwards, please feel free as well. And I'd like to take the opportunity to also thank OMNICREA, CPS, as well as Yannicka at ITS Canada for supporting us in this initiative. So for those who don't know us, the Trade Commissioner Service, we are a federal government organization that falls under Global Affairs Canada. And we have a presence in over 170 cities around the world. So wherever your company wants to do business, we have people on the ground that are there to support you, to prepare for the local market, give you a potential assessment for your technology or solution within those markets, provide you with qualified contacts and make introductions that are right for your specific needs, and also problem solving. So we're there for troubleshooting and supporting your company, because we are there to support Canadian companies that are contributing to the Canadian economy in order for you, companies like yourselves, to grow. And our objectives are essentially to increase Canadian exports, but also to help you and companies like yourselves establish science and technology partnerships with local companies, and also promote investment in Canada and help Canadian companies invest also in our local markets whenever it is their objective and it makes sense for their companies. We also have funding programs. We have Can Export for SMEs and Can Export for Innovation. The applications are not yet open for 23-24, but we also support Canadian companies in accessing international funding programs such as Eureka or Horizons Europe, for example, programs. There are some bilateral programs or multilateral programs for research and development, and we are more than happy to support you in accessing these or providing you with the information. We also have local tools and resources. We often deal with local accelerator programs and tech challenges, but we also have close relationships with local clusters, associations, etc. And oftentimes there are Canadian companies that tap into our service to connect with local investors if they are fundraising or they're looking for other sources of finance. Now, taking a bit of a stab into the program that we want to do in March of 2023, it is over 2 dates. It is physically here, not virtual. We are looking to get a small cohort of Canadian companies in the ITS sector to come to Madrid in 2023 and March 7 and 8 again to participate in an intense 2-day program in which the Canadian companies will have essentially take part in a deep dive into the ITS market. What we're looking for is for the Canadian companies to partake in a tailored information session for half a day, where they will be receiving presentations and interactions with local experts, companies, municipalities, traffic authorities, essentially local contacts that will be able to provide you with essentially meat that you can then run with, so that you can have a better sense of what's happening here on the ground. And these speakers will be invited specifically according to the cohort of companies that will be coming. So, if we have companies that are that have a big focus on security or on data or on freight, for example, then we will invite companies or local authorities that will have an interest for those companies. We will then also organize specific B2B programs or B2G meetings between the Canadian companies and local contacts. And we are working very closely here, again, with the two experts that you have heard from. So OMNICREA and CPS will be working with us to not only matchmake the Canadian companies with local companies so that you can participate in a meetings program, but they'll also be helping the embassy to have an information session that will be of interest to you, the Canadian companies that will be coming to the market on those 2 dates. In addition to those 2 activities, the info session and the B2B meetings program, we will also be organizing a networking event at a venue here in Madrid that will receive the Canadian companies for them to also kind of show their wares and also maybe bring roll-ups and behind tables, etc. But also to have a wine and cheese with local companies that you will essentially be mingling with in a more informal setting, so that you can essentially have deeper conversations in a comfortable setting and talk about your solutions, but also get to learn more about the local contacts as well. So these people will be invited according, again, to the companies that will be coming from Canada. So they will be relevant to the Canadian companies that are participating in this program. And we'll be coordinating very closely with ITS Spain, but also with the local network that's been developed by the embassy, but also by OMNICREA and CPS and other contacts and partners. The eligibility essentially for Canadian companies that are interested, well, they have to be Canadian companies that are active in the sector. We want it to be very relevant, not only for the Canadian companies, but also to the local contacts we'll be bringing to the table. We want companies that are targeting local integrators, concession companies, traffic authorities, municipalities, etc. And also, we're looking for companies that have a capacity and a will and interest to export or to partner with local companies, both here in Spain and other European markets, to commercialize their products here locally. So we want you to come here to sell. And we are looking for companies that will be applying by January 9th. So that's kind of the deadline for applications. And not all applicants will be selected. We want to be very, very clear here that we want companies that we feel are a good fit for the Spanish market and the European market. And the applicants will be revised not only by the embassy, but by local experts. So Jesus, as well as Alfonso, will be looking at the applicants because we want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and that those companies will have a better chance of success in the local market. We don't want Canadian companies to be losing their time as well as us as well. But we are very confident that we'll be finding some applicants that have a good fit. There are some really good links between Canada and Spain, as we've found in the past. We have some ITS companies that are pursuing leads or have already contracts here in the local market. So we already sense that there are some good opportunities for Canadian companies. But there's also a lot of Spanish companies that are looking abroad as well as in Canada. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of concession and infrastructure companies that have had successes in Canada and partnered with local ITS companies. So we have we know from experience that there's a lot of links to be pursued as well and opportunities to be explored. So we look forward to hearing from you and receiving your applications as well. So we can now pass to the questions and answers, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time, and again to OMNICREA and CPS for your and ITS Canada to participate in this and supporting us in this initiative. But that's it for my presentation. So if there's any questions for me as a trade commissioner here based in Madrid, or for OMNICREA or CPS, please go ahead.
Thank you, Yves. just one observation. In one of the slides, you say that the Can Export application 2023-24 is not open yet, but it is open. So just wanted to let you know it is open.
It has been open. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. So ITS Canada is going to submit an application for
Yes,
various missions for next year. They're due
you might be
January 10th.
But Yannicka, you might be referring to the Can Export for associations,
Yes.
and not necessarily for SMEs or for innovation. So I just want to clarify that.
Oh, okay. So can
There's
you
3
send all of
categories
us?
for Can Export.
Okay. Can you send the link for companies then for Can Export where they have to
More than happy
apply?
to do so. Yeah.
Perfect.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I see. And if anybody has any other questions, it's an opportunity to ask away.
Julian Vasquez here. So in the CPS presentation, there was, when we're talking about the stakeholders, there is a list of all the stakeholders. There is a section for manufacturer developers. If you just mentioned that also there is a group of Spanish companies that they always is importing product and selling product. So is any database about ITS companies or I'm most interested for sure in equipment and what is the solution that ITS companies from Spain are providing right now in order to see if that's something that can be applied to the Canadian market and basically for the in my case to the sector here. So
Not sure if I understood your question. Essentially, a database of ITS companies that would have an interest in Canada?
no, basically, I'm looking for example, in the CPS presentation, there is a section that called manufacturer
Oh,
development. So I'm looking for see what solutions, so something that what devices or what solutions are being provided by Spanish companies that maybe I'm not aware here or we are not aware here. That's something that we can provide solutions. So maybe Shad mentioned about the sound the detector. So basically, yes, that's the kind of what products are available in the Spanish market that we can maybe take a review here and see something that can be applied. So
Julian, we could provide you a list of Spanish companies, and you could check on their website if you wish all the equipment that they are offering.
sure.
and also, I mean, also be aware that if you participate in this initiative, if you are interested in the Spanish market, Alfonso would be working very closely with you to kind of determine exactly who should be your local partners or potential clients, and then organizing meetings that are tailored to your specific companies here in the market. So, and we're looking that every company that would be coming to this program would at least meet at least 5 companies on a one-to-one basis, but also meet several others in the networking event and the other activities.
Sure. Thank you.
I have a quick question as well, if I may. Just with all the amazing support and things that you guys do on behalf of the Canadian government and Canadian business, I'd just like to get better clarity on the organization and how it can help companies like ours. For context, we're just in the process of signing a very, very large deal with a large company in the United States that produces sirens. Norm, my counterpart, met with their counterparts out of the US in Spain about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The meetings went very, very well. And we're looking at returning to Spain. And we recently had meetings about how to leverage these business opportunities specific to the siren market and noise outside of that market during these business trips, where we'll quite regularly be going to Spain. How can your, I guess, organization help increase, I guess, our effectiveness in looking at those different markets and penetrating those different markets, but also helping us get there as an opportunity in the first place?
Yeah, of course. For the Trade Commissioner Service, I mean, we can help you from the due diligence down to the problem solving whenever the problems arise and everything in between. I mean, we are there. We're dedicated officers and that are there to support Canadian companies in providing advocacy, but also local contacts. So let's say that you're coming to the market already, but you're looking at maybe setting up a local operation, or you want local contacts, whether it's on the legal side or on the accounting side or on business development side, local representatives or distributors. We have databases, but we also have local contacts that can help you essentially fill in those gaps wherever you need them. And when I say, it can be also like on the advocacy or providing you with extra exposure in the local market too. Oftentimes we can provide facilities where you can do presentations to local contacts or potential clients as well. Here, for example, in Madrid, we have what we call our multi-purpose room that is used quite frequently by Canadian companies that want to have a pied-à-terre. They want to show up in the market. They want to schmooze with their local contacts or local contacts that might be even invited by the Canadian embassy, so that you can be in front of the right people as well. So we are, like I said, we're there for you, and we'll tailor our services to a large extent to what the customer needs as well. We are not there to provide necessarily legal guidance, but we can put you in front of the people that would be able to provide you with legal guidance. We can kind of inform you about the local regulations, etc., and make sure that you are putting your best foot forward and that you're taking the precautions as well, and even ask you questions with regards to what your strategy is for the local market, maybe provide you guidance in that respect as well. So I hope that answers your question, Chad, but
yeah, it
was
does
that what you...
indeed. You touched perhaps on one of my next questions, was things like legal guidance and things like that.
Yeah.
My Spanish is limited to getting myself out of jail in a pinch and maybe ordering a drink here and there. But when it comes to conducting business, I'm wondering if you offer translation services to look and review contracts, things like that.
Yeah, we'll often participate in meetings with Canadian companies to ensure that essentially that there's no language barrier there, and it also provides a little bit of support as well, and providing some legitimacy to the Canadian companies that maybe sometimes aren't necessarily known in the Spanish market. So we'll actually attend and even reach out to local contacts to ensure that they know that you're legit, that you're a Canadian company, that you are who you say you are. If you're looking for interpretation, like simultaneous translation, maybe we can put you in front of. We can essentially bring you local experts that are certified translators. I wouldn't want to put myself in those shoes, but I've actually done some translation in the past in meetings, and happy to do so. But if you're looking at legal documents that you want to ensure are up to snuff, and we have local law firms that we regularly work with. Some of them that are part of the Canada-Spain Chamber of Commerce as well, that are members, that essentially have a really close connection between Canada and Spain, and have gone through these sorts of exercises in the past, and can provide you with some guaranteed legal services here in the Spanish market.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Even if I may, I think I know the answer to this question already, and I'm hoping you're not going to give me that answer. But my name is Richard Easley, and I own a company, E Squared Engineering, and we do actually I serve on the board of ITS Canada, and we work with Canadian companies quite a bit. I am south of the border in the United States, but I'm actively involved with companies, typically as a sub because of our subject matter expertise. So the support that you can provide Canadian companies, how does that fit in for their partners or subs that are providing a kind of a package that are south of the border, like myself, small company? Can you guys do anything with that, or is it just, okay, main company, you can come in, Canadian company, but you, E Squared Engineering, Richard, you're SOL, we got nothing for you. You can go on back to the States. What's your thought on that?
My thought on that is that if there's an economic benefit to Canada, then we'll support. So if it's essentially a solution that's developed in Canada and that brings revenues, if it's exported, it brings revenues to Canada. If it employs Canadian companies, if it essentially generates value to the Canadian economy, we will support. So that's essentially the rule of thumb. So if you're telling me that it's essentially engineers in the U.S. that are building, it's a subsidiary that is based in the U.S., then we can kind of look into what value does that bring to Canada, because we actually support U.S. subsidiaries that are in Canada, for example. So there is that fine line as well, that we will look into supporting an American company or a European company that has a production facility or engineers in Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver or wherever it is that they are in Canada, and we work with those teams because they are generating an economic benefit to Canada. I don't know if that answers, Richard, your question, and I hope I didn't provide the answer that you weren't looking for.
No, actually, that's really helpful, because there are things that as we team with Canadian companies, that obviously they get the lion's share of what the work is, right? Because we're a niche company, and so if we're benefiting that Canadian company on the big scale, E squared, my company, benefits on a small scale, which is fine. I'm a small company. Then you can help us. I'm not excluded, and at least that's the way I interpret what you said, and that's encouraging. And that is, you're right. That's not exactly what I was expecting. So that's a good thing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And the name of your company, Richard, is?
It's E squared engineering. E
squared engineering.
Yes.
I think, Richard, you can
Well, thank you
probably
very much.
have access to the chat room if you want to put your website in there. And Richard is also on the ITS Canada board of directors. Yeah. I think this has been a really, really a good conversation. Thank you. I've learned a lot. So this session today is being recorded. I'll edit it because we chatted a little bit at the beginning. I thank everybody for their time today. Yves, Jesus, Alfonso, Salvador, but also the participants, chat, even though he got up really, really early, and chat, it's not dark, your background isn't dark anymore. So Norm, nice to meet you. Julian, always good to see you. And Richard, thank you everybody very, very much. I was wondering if the presentations can be shared. So if you want to send the presentations to me, I'll PDF them if that's okay. And then I'll send everybody a copy of the presentations, including mine, which didn't really go that well. Wishing everybody a very, very Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And I look forward to connecting with everybody in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very
Janet.
much, Janica.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.